Dzień dobry!
Dzień dobry, I'm Max from Canada.
I'm Suji from Thailand.
And in the past video, we reacted to Poland Explain. But it was from a year or two ago. And I found a video 3 days ago. Will Poland economic miracle ever end? Poland is getting better every year. And this one is going to be an update video from a few days ago by TLDR News Europe, EU. And very interesting to know what they're going to bring in this video, what's going to be about exactly, and if Poland is getting even better and better. So let's get started.
Let's go.
Poland's economic rise to power over the last 30 years or so has been remarkable.
Wow.
Following the fall of communism, rise to power.
Which city is this? This is so pretty. I should recognize it, but a lot of cities look like this. See? The courtyard look like the religious place at the bottom left.
Choose this big frog how?
You think? It's so pretty. There's a lot of cities that have the water like this.
Over the last 30 years or so has been remarkable. Following the fall of communism in the early 90s, Poland's GDP per capita has increased more than tenfold. And
wow, the GDP per capita in the USD billion. Compared to Slovakia and Czechia, it's going higher a lot.
Yeah.
It stabilized when there was like the 2008 crash, right? In the US and all around the world. And then it picked up the few recent years gone up a lot. I mean, with the pandemic, it went higher and higher. I don't think they closed. Did they close the country? Maybe that's why they did not close. Maybe I'm not sure if you guys closed during the pandemic.
Has been outpacing its EU neighbors. In fact, in the second quarter of this year, Poland recorded the EU's fastest GDP growth and is heading to have the third highest GDP growth in the EU in 2025. So in this video, we thought we'd take a look at Poland's impressive economic growth, how all of this happened, and whether the economy can actually sustain this momentum. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider to release new videos. Poland's impressive economic rise comes after an extremely dark history. Largely because it sits between Russia and Western Europe, it's been invaded many times. Poland suffered enormously in the Second World War and lost more people than any other future EU country in the Allied forces, and was subsequently subsumed into the Soviet Union's sphere of influence. In 1990, when the communist system collapsed, Poland's GDP per capita was $1,700. For context, the UK, France, Germany, and Italy all had GDPs per capita somewhere.
That's per year. That's lower than Thailand. $1,700 per year. Oh my God.
Between $19,000 and $20,000. So Poland's per capita income was literally a tenth of its developed Western European neighbors. Even poorer Western European states were significantly wealthier than the Poles. Portugal, for example, had a GDP per capita of about $8,000. But fortunately for Poland, things have changed a lot since then. Poland's economy grew steadily in the 90s, reaching a GDP per capita of about $5,000 by the early 2000s. After it joined the EU in 2004, this growth accelerated further, and Poland reached a GDP per capita of $14,000 in 2008, just before the financial crisis. Today, Poland has a GDP per capita of about $22,000. Literally,
look how much it grew during the pandemic. It's crazy.
What happened?
It grew so much.
More than 10 times what it was in 1990. And
wow.
Not far off Western European countries like Portugal and Greece, which have GDPs per capita of about $27,000 and $22,000.
See the big crash in Greece, the big collapse in Greece when the country completely kaput, and it's getting back up now.
Respectively, making it one of the fastest growing economies in the EU. So how has this happened? Well, we've gone into this in more detail in other videos, but as we see it, there are essentially three reasons why Poland's economy grew so quickly. Firstly, Poland has been the largest recipient of EU cohesion funds, receiving a total of 213 billion euros since it joined the EU in 2004. Now, Poland has used this money.
Yeah, but isn't it to counter the fact that Poland did not receive a lot of reparation from Germany for the Second World War? So the money needs to come from someone because you need help to reboost your economy, right? After a catastrophe like this. And if a country that is supposed to help you financially does not, well, the other country needs to step in a little bit.
Money wisely, investing and developing both its infrastructure and agriculture. Secondly, Poland has greatly benefited from its membership of the EU single market, which has allowed for the free flow of capital, goods, services, and people. Situated between Western Europe and Russia, with a large population and solid consumer base, has meant that Poland has become one of the EU's trading hubs. Intra-EU trade now accounts for 74% of Poland's exports and 67% of its imports. Finally, Poland's diversified economy has also boosted economic growth. While agriculture and manufacturing contribute significantly to the economy, other industries are emerging too, which are becoming just as, if not more, important. There's the automotive industry, which employs approximately 200,000 Poles, making it the fourth largest industrial employer in the country. There's also Poland's ICT sector, which has become the #1 destination in Central and Eastern Europe for research and development projects. Poland's government also has some pretty big ambitions for its defense industry too. It plans to raise the country's defense spending to 4% of GDP and create the largest army in Europe. This high defense spending has led to an influx of large aerospace companies setting up in Poland, especially in the Podkarpackie region, known as Aviation Valley. Poland's diversified economy is partly the reason why their economy has proved so remarkably resilient to crises and external shocks. For example, in 2020, after the pandemic, Poland's GDP contracted by only 3.5%, which was significantly less than the OECD average of 5.5%.
This is what I just said, that it was less affected. But I wonder why exactly.
And well below, say, the UK, which experienced a contraction of 9.9%. Poland's GDP also bounced back much quicker than the rest of the EU post-pandemic and recorded rapid GDP growth in the following months. Consumer confidence has also rapidly improved, and Poland continues to be one of few European countries recording GDP growth of over 3%. So, will Poland's economic miracle ever end? Well, one can never know for sure, but despite all of the economy's strengths, there are at least two reasons to be cautious. The first reason is inflation. Poland's soaring wage growth has been overwhelmingly driven by high inflation rates, triggered by the pandemic and the war in neighboring Ukraine. This year, record public sector and minimum wage hikes have seen wages soar. In Q2, the average wage in Poland grew by 14.7% year on year, the largest increase in at least 2 decades.
Wait, that's crazy, the wage change. It's in the high 10%. It means annually how much your salary increase. You wish it was that in Thailand, right?
True.
Going up 10% in a year. The minimum salary is like $10, $12 per day.
Yeah, that's so stupid.
Yeah, that's why a lot of people are self-employed. They don't have
Yeah.
a boss, they can make their own money.
Yeah, and they can make more.
Yeah.
The economy enters a sort of wage price spiral, where higher wages mean more inflation, which creates demands for higher wages, etc. And there's already evidence that the Polish economy may be edging nearer to that point,
Yes. High salary mean more inflation. Makes
which
sense.
creates demands for higher wages, etc. And
Yes. You get better salary, cost of living go up, and then people ask for more salary. You're right that in Thailand people don't get paid a lot, but the cost of living is not expensive in Thailand compared to Poland.
Maybe like 3-5 years ago, 300,
You're right.
you can buy a lot of things, but it's so stupid because they even try to compare the US salary. You got like what, 5,000 USD per month. For in Thailand, you got like 9,000, but then you
$300, $500.
then you're talking about like how much they make per day, like for example, like $200, was it $200 per day? But in Thailand we make 300 baht per day, and then
$12, yeah.
in the US you buy like 300 baht of like food, right? Was it 10 baht of food?
Yeah.
But in Thailand we buy like 50 baht of food, and then we live only 250. We cannot do anything with that. And this is not even including any water. But like in the US, for that salary, you still like live a lot of money. That's why, because people thinking about like as like, you know, Asian people, that's why they wanted to like work overseas. Even like the rent and everything is still expensive, but you still can save some money when
Yeah,
you
but
go back home.
the thinking of people in Thailand to work overseas is we're gonna go overseas and we're gonna live on almost no money. We're gonna live in a very cheaply, because you guys are used to live in like very tiny house over here. People that grew up in big house, they struggle to live in small house after that.
We don't have tiny home in Thailand at all. Our house is so big.
No, but I mean, look, I don't want to laugh at the condition of the roof, right? But having a roof at night that make noise because the rain is on the roof, pow, 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 you can hear the rain. It's not something that people in America want, you know? It's something that Thai people don't care. So the material to build your house can be much cheaper. You can live on a lot less money, even if you go overseas. For me that come to Thailand, it's very easy for me to live on a lot of money because I don't really care about a lot of things. So
Yeah, it's kind of getting worse. Like, actually, our government said maybe next year they're gonna be able to raise the salary from 300 baht to 700 baht.
I doubt it. They're
I'm
gonna
not
double
sure.
the
They're probably
salary.
they're probably gonna split one part of the land or the national gas to a neighbor country or something. That what is going on? Like is that we are going to war, thing like
Because
that.
a source of wealth in Thailand is that generation wealth from farmer that own the land, and the price of land go up over time,
Yes.
and it's passed to the family, to the children, to the grandchildren. So those people actually have a roof under their head and a house and a land that get passed from generation.
Yeah.
So-
that
And there's
would
already
be-
evidence that the
Well,
Polish
no, that's good.
that's good, but it's not good for me.
Oh, because you don't have family.
No, I mean like because before that, maybe like 20 years ago, right? We didn't have free healthcare.
Oh, now
Then
you do, yeah.
yeah, if you sick, you need to like, for example, my great granddad, he was so sick. We used to have a lot of like farm thing like that. That's only the one I said that
Oh, you
we
need
can
to sell the farm. Is that
sell
what you mean?
all the land
Yeah.
just to save a person.
Mm.
But then after that, it's not even like many year after. We just got what is it? Got prime minister.
Free healthcare.
Yeah, so we got healthcare.
economy may be edging nearer to that point. Inflation, which reached a staggering record high of 18.4% last year, has been steadily rising this year too. And
Yeah,
continue-
but that's the thing. The problem with inflation is when inflation go up 5%, but your salary only go up 3%, you lose 2%.
Mm.
So your salary need to match the inflation or you're getting poorer. That's basically it, right?
That's what is scary about.
Well, Thailand, it's the grocery price that have gone up a lot
yeah,
since
like
the pandemic.
grown up by
Yeah.
like people not even notice it. It's grown up little by little, like
Yeah.
you not even be able to notice it. But like we notice all the time because we always went to like grocery.
Yeah.
continues to linger above the National Bank's target range of 1.5 to 3.5%. Furthermore, the country's low employment rate of 2.9%, the second lowest in the
See?
EU,
See, everyone has a job. That's one of the
Mm.
things that is important also.
is raising some eyebrows. While low unemployment sounds good, 2.9% is perhaps too low and a symptom of significant labour shortages. Exacerbated by a declining and ageing population, the country's labour market is the tightest it's been since the 90s, and employment growth has been contracting. In the first quarter of this year, for instance, there are around 112,000 job vacancies, and estimates suggest that by 2035, Poland may lose around 2.1 million workers. These labour shortages have already shown up in sectors like transportation and construction, in large part because the
Wait, but isn't it a good thing? Because if you have people that are getting older and retired, right? It's harder to find people to work. But if you pay them more money, they're gonna come work for you. And nobody's gonna decide to stay home or have an extended break, a sabbatical for too long. If you pay people a fair living wage, you're not gonna have problem finding people. Or you're not gonna have problem finding immigrants that want to go to Poland to have work because you pay them enough. I don't know. I just think like that.
heavy reliance of these industries on Ukrainian workers, many of whom left to join the war effort following Russia's invasion. The second reason why Poland's economy could struggle is weak external demand. This is largely because, alongside the steady depreciation of the zloty, Poland's export industry has been struggling with weak economic conditions and low growth in the Eurozone. Now, the Eurozone accounts for 75% of Polish exports for goods, but Germany, Poland's biggest trading partner, is particularly struggling, which is reducing the need for Polish export demand. As a result, Poland's been running a current account deficit since July. Its export sector is projected to have a negative contribution to growth in 2024, with the steepest export drops recorded in investment, consumer goods, and passenger car exports. Nonetheless, Poland's fundamentals are steady. Poland is still considered an attractive destination for investment. It's currently ranked fourth in the EU, after the bloc's largest economies, for new jobs created as a result of FDI. To maintain this growth, though, the Polish government will have to control inflation and somehow meet the economy's labour demands. Now, the easiest way to do this would be to increase their migrant quota, something that the current government, which has taken a hardline stance on migration, isn't likely to do. This is just one of many major stories going on, with 2024 marking a major year in both news and
Well,
elections.
listen, apparently the new government in Poland is more left-leaning. And if a left-leaning government don't want more immigrant, then you're screwed because a lot of people don't want to do those low-paying jobs. In Canada, a lot of people don't want to work on the farm because it's too difficult, but there's a lot of people from Mexico that will come to Canada to do those jobs. And if you don't have people to do those jobs, they either gonna need to increase either the price of the food, the vegetable on the land, or they're gonna have to pay worker a lot more. You're gonna have to make it something that's gonna be a detriment to the whole population because they need worker or they need to increase the salary. You need to do something to interest people to go work for you, you know?
So, with the majority of the world heading to the polls, 2024 has been a pretty unique and important year.
I just hope the economy is going better and better. The other day, I heard the news. So I'm not sure if it's fake news or something. They said, what is it? Prime Minister? Is it Prime Minister or President of Poland? I'm not sure. Like said, we're gonna be the head of NATO to go again to help Ukraine, thing like that.
Yeah,
That's what I'm scared
that
about.
war has been going on for long. The problem is that when the focus is on that, right, on protecting your border, the whole population struggle on every other aspect because the focus is put on one thing, and the rest is inflation is not taken care of.
But I mean, I understand why they are like that, because if that country got that country, which means Poland really close, so of course they're gonna have to protect themselves from something.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for that suggestion. Suggest us more. See you very soon.